What's up, everybody? It's Jason Cruz, and once again, it's another edition of The Legal Submission. And this time, we are going to be talking about a boxing lawsuit involving Jaron Boots Ennis. Now, the Pennsylvania native last fought in July of 2023, and the inactivity has caused him to file a lawsuit. Now, again, he fought in July of 2023, but according to the lawsuit, that did not meet the requirements of his contract. So let's get to the beginning of the lawsuit. It was filed recently, February 7th, in federal court against Now Boxing. Again, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania is where he had filed the lawsuit. The United States District Court for the Eastern District of Pennsylvania. Now, you might recall a couple years back, a lawsuit was filed by Ennis against Cameron Duncan, who has since passed away, and his handlers, and it related to a situation in which he claimed that he was being utilized by Duncan and associates because they were using him via promoter and a quasi manager who was actually acting on the best interest of the promoter. Now, that case almost went to trial. It did settle out, but now here we have a case against what we believe now, and we'll get to it, the predecessor, the successor, not the predecessor, the successor of Cameron Duncan, as he has passed away. Now, facts of the lawsuit are straightforward here. Boots Ennis is a boxer. He entered a boxing agreement with NOW Boxing on January 23rd, 2019. Cameron Duncan was the promoter, licensed promoter. The agreement now, which was attached to the lawsuit, the agreement stated that the contract, which was signed in 2019, would go through May 22nd, 2023. As is per the usual with some of these boxing contracts, there were clauses which would extend the particular contract. But in this case, the bone of contention is with the minimum bouts and purses that he was going to be provided. Now, reading from the paragraph 8 of the lawsuit, the agreement provides as follows with respect to defendant's obligations to promote boxing events in which plaintiff was to participate during the term of the agreement. So the first year of this agreement, promoter shall offer to fighter the right to participate in a minimum of 4 bouts. Second year, promoter shall offer to fighter the right to participate in a minimum of 4 bouts. During the third year, promoter shall offer to fighter the right to participate in a minimum of 3 bouts. And in the fourth year, the promoter shall offer to the fighter the right to participate in a minimum of 3 bouts. So all in all, we have, over the span of 4 years, we have, and I'm counting up, 14 bouts that he was supposed to be offered to fight. Now, there are obviously extenuating factors. You could already see this occurred during the COVID era. We've already seen cases, boxing cases. Mad Milgen comes to mind when we see about boxers. Canelo Alvarez, again, another one, where boxers bring lawsuits because of the lack of activity and opportunity to fight. And they sue their promoters because they're mad at the fact, or the managers, because they're mad at the fact they did not get the right to fight. Now, Boots lays out the fact that he was offered 3 bouts in year 1, 2 bouts in year 2, 2 bouts in year 3 and 1 bout in year 4. Now you could suspect that year 4 was this year, or I'm sorry, 2023, because he did fight in July 2023, as we had started off at the top of the podcast. Now, Cameron Duncan did pass away in January of 2024. Reading from paragraph 14, on January 15, 2024, an attorney forwarded a letter to plaintiff Boots advising him that Kelly Duncan has taken over the promotion of plaintiff pursuant to a trust dated July 27, 2023. Now, what's interesting are the dates, of course, because Boots did fight, I believe, July 23rd, 2023, and also the fact that we have Kelly Duncan, Cameron's widow, taking over. Now, it's not clear as to whether or not she has a license, or is that whether or not his agency would go into trust, but this will be brought up in this lawsuit. Now, to date, the defendant has not advised whether Ms. Duncan or defendant is a licensed promoter. Obviously, that's going to be cleared up with Mr. Duncan's estate. He probably had succession, as far as what would happen in his unfortunate passing, or he might not, and then we're left with a lot of questions to answer. But the fact remains that Boots is filing this lawsuit because he did not receive the amount of fights that he was supposed to. Now, the cause of action in this lawsuit obviously is for a breach of a contract. He wasn't given enough fights that he was supposed to over the term of the contract. He's asking for a court to determine that the agreement lacks enforceability. And basically, paragraph 3 of the agreement, which places no obligation upon defendant to perform a task, pay plaintiff a specific amount for a bout in which plaintiff participates, which is the very essence of the agreement and the basis of the bargain between plaintiff and the defendant, renders the agreement illusory, lacking in mutual obligation, and therefore void ab initio. So basically, that's Latin for at the very start. So they're essentially saying that the contract was voidable at the very beginning because it did not. It lacked the necessary parts of a contract, which are offer, acceptance, consideration. And so they're saying that the defendant did not perform a task upon which would comply with the particular contract. So he didn't offer the bouts and did not pay the plaintiff pay Boots for that particular amount. They also go into the fact that paragraph 6 of the agreement, the fighter agreement, is vague and ambiguous insofar as it grants defendant the unilateral right to extend the agreement if plaintiff either challenges for or wins or world title or certain specified sanctioning organizations. Once again, we're talking about the championship clause. We've seen that in the UFC antitrust lawsuit, as far as that in and of itself being an anti-competitive means to which the UFC allegedly schemed to suppress the wages of fighters. Here, we're seeing a similar action taken against Duncan, or at least the promoter's fighter contract, stating that the contractual language was vague and ambiguous, but also voidable because of the fact that it unilaterally extends the contract. Meaning that if he won the title, his contract was extended by a year already, regardless of whether or not he wanted to, whether or not he was on the last year of his deal or the last fight of his deal. his contract would be extended, even if he didn't like the promoter and wanted to go somewhere else and was offered money elsewhere. So there's that. So it goes on with breach of contract claim and also for injunctive relief, meaning that Boots wants out of the contract. That's the essence of the situation. From what you can gather without reading any emails or texts or anything like that, or any underlying issues between Boots and his promoter, is the fact that he is dissatisfied with the contract and now wants out of the contract so he could go somewhere else and fight elsewhere. That is basically what he wants. He wants to get out of the contract. Now, can he will be another issue. So since this is just filed in March, you can expect a response from the promoters, Now Boxing, which will probably offer up a blanket denial, as well as perhaps some insight into Boots's negotiations and requests in this lawsuit. Now, we don't know what Boots has done. Aside, I mean, we haven't read into the articles or the message boards about Boots and whether or not he had denied offers of fighters or whatnot. You could remember the Mladen Miljas lawsuit, in which the promoter at that point, Greg Horns, indicated that they offered him fighters, but he turned them down. Those are the he said, she said things that will probably run into here. Now, Ennis obviously is wanting to make some money. He's at the high point of his career, so we could see that he wants to remain active. So we will keep track of this lawsuit as it continues to progress through the windy road of the court system. It's Jason Cruz for MMA Payouts, The Legal Submission. Have a great one.